Everybody, I decided now would be a good time to film a video. I should have filmed today because we were at Walmart shopping and stuff, and we bought new shoes, and anyway, I don't know, I was just kind of in the mood to do a sit-down video, talking about, I talked about my teen mom story a lot, but I didn't really ever talk about, the guy, the biological father of Leah. So I'm gonna do that now. Where do I even start? Okay, so I was like maybe 14 when I met him, 8th grade going into my freshman year. We were not dating at the time, but I knew who he was, and we talked on the phone and stuff like that. I was living in a different town than he was, and back then transportation was kind of an issue, so we never dated. And I had other interests. But he really wanted to date me, and he, and I guess I wanted to date him too. I don't know. This was a long time ago, and it's not really something I really like to sit and think about, mostly because it makes me kind of sad. Anyway, he and I started dating March 6th of 2011, and, we were together maybe a month, no, 2 months probably, when I found out I was pregnant with Leah, and I was 15 at the time, and he was 18 and way too old for me, and the thing that bothers me the most about the situation is, we had talked about the risk of, if we got pregnant, and he always told me that if that ever happened, he would stick by my side and give a fuck what happened, and, blah, 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 blah. I'll probably put in the title that this is not appropriate for children, so if you have your children near you, maybe stop watching now. Anyway, him and I, it was a stupid relationship, really. We would sit around and get high all the time. Very stupid, and I hate to admit this, but I put so little effort into trying to prevent a pregnancy. I would take my birth control pills, but only when I remembered or felt like it. Of course, back then I thought that if you take 2 pills, you're fine, and I didn't realize it was something that you had to take every single day for a month for it to even be effective in the first place. Knowing what I knew about him, I knew that he was a flaky guy. I knew that he was a cheater, and when I found out I was pregnant with Leah, if you have watched my previous videos, everybody was trying to force me into having an abortion. I did not want that, and it made me so sad because he was totally gung-ho, and to my face would say, when other people weren't around, that he didn't want me to have an abortion, and then later he decided that, like in front of everyone, in front of my mom and his grandma and everyone else, he decided that that would be the time to tell me that that's what he wanted me to do, which makes me really upset because even though I'm not trying to put all the blame on him, but this is how I see it. He knew I was not taking my birth control every single day, and he knew that that's what I was supposed to be doing and didn't say anything. I don't know. It is what it is. I found out he was cheating on me when I found out I was pregnant, and then I felt like I couldn't leave him because I was pregnant. And he gave me the whole bullshit spiel of, oh yeah, baby, I'll change, and whatever other crap. He cheated on me again when I was 12 weeks, and I really wanted to leave him. And he started crying and said that he would kill himself if I left him. And that's where I was talking about in previous videos, where I wasn't in a physically abusive relationship, but I was very much in an emotionally abusive relationship at 15. I didn't know how to break up with somebody who was telling me that they would kill themselves if I ever left. I didn't want to have someone else's blood on my hands, and I didn't want to see him dead. I didn't hate him. didn't feel like he really wanted to be with me. And about 16 weeks into my pregnancy, I moved to Pennsylvania, which is a couple states away. So, I mean, there's that. And my mom said that he would let him come out. He would bring him out here if he got his GED and his driver's license. He didn't even do that. And come on, he was 18. Like, it wasn't reasonable at this time. He was almost 19 by the time he came out to Pennsylvania. And my mom's boyfriend, he worked for the airlines and flew him out. He got out here, and at the beginning of Leah's, when she was born, he was doing really great. He did not show up until the day after she was born, which was really hurtful to me, because I feel like my mom's expectations of him were extremely low and that he could have been there. But anyway, moving on. He was great. I really mean great for the first 2 or 3 months of her childhood. Great. And then he decided, because when he was, when I was pregnant with Leah, let's also not forget, he went to jail once when I was pregnant for stealing a bottle of alcohol from Walmart. Like a fucking jackass. Like, I don't even know why I continued to stay with him. Anyway, he started going down the right path when he moved to Pennsylvania. He went on Craigslist and put an ad out to find friends, okay? Which wasn't the problem. No, that wasn't the problem. He found the biggest pieces of shits he could find that were high all the time. I'm not talking about people who smoke pot. You support it, you don't. I'm talking about people who actually did, like, fucking heroin and, I'm sorry for my language, but this makes me so mad because people jump down my back all the time for not letting him around, but this is why. He was hanging out with people that were doing drugs. He told me that, oh, honey, I'm just smoking pot. He would come home, which I wasn't even okay with him doing that, because Pennsylvania is a state where they really kind of crack down on that, and people get their kids taken for that. You know what I mean? It wasn't like we were living in Colorado, where it's legal. We were living in a place that it was illegal, and I was already a teen mom, and I already didn't look good. Aside from that, he was trying to tell me he was only smoking pot. I went to the roller rink one time. This was the one time I left him alone with Leah. She's like maybe 3 months old. My mom came through the door, and he was holding her, like literally almost fell on the floor while he was holding our child. And I should say my child, while he was holding my child. And after that, I just kind of was like, no. And then his grandma paid for him to take a train back to the state of Illinois, which this isn't even the worst part on my part. I didn't even break up with him at this point. Like, because I wanted so badly to believe that he was just smoking pot, which nobody reacts that way to pot. And I had seen him high and, before I got pregnant with my child, because that's what we did on a regular basis. I had seen him, and I hope nobody thinks I'm condoning doing drugs, because I'm really not. This is just my story. This was me before I had children. I would never, ever do anything like that now. But I didn't even break up with him then. Anyway, he started stealing things. Not like, I stole $20 worth of stuff from Walmart. No, he would break into people's cars and steal things from their cars. I want to say he stole like $2,500 worth of stuff. He went to jail. Luckily, he got off with charges. He was there for like a month. I broke up with him at that point. Leah was 6 months old. Around the new year of 2013, Leah was coming up on a year old, and I decided to try and give him another chance. Like, we did not officially get back together, but we went out on a couple dates, and I talked, and I laid down what I wanted out of him, and they were so minuscule, and he didn't even meet them. And then before, I was right about, what was it? I was getting close to the point where I was maybe gonna forgive him, you know what I mean? He goes to jail again, and it's been that way ever since. He hasn't seen her since before her first birthday. I don't plan on allowing him around her. And that's the thing. At this point, we're trying to encourage him to sign all of his rights over to Leah so that Tommy can legally adopt her, because otherwise we're going to have to go through a different legal process that's going to be much more difficult and much harder, and I don't think we can even technically go through with it until she's I think it's 5. And we would have to go through the state of Pennsylvania, because the state of Illinois wouldn't even allow this, and basically what it is where we petition to get him to come to court. If he doesn't come to court, then he loses his rights, and then we can go from there, which is a lengthy process. I don't want to go through that. In Illinois, you can't pretty much do anything without the other parent signing rights over. So that's why we would go through Pennsylvania, because they're the only state that, because she was born there, technically we can go through there, and it's the only state that offers even just a little bit of leeway. Anyway, this wasn't like a video I was planning on doing, but it was something that was sitting heavy on my mind. But yeah, pretty much he's been in and out of jail every couple months since I last seen him. He has 2 other children by 2 other women, one of which he has never seen nor paid a dime of child support for. He is 2 years old. I don't think I need to say anything else. I don't hate him. I just wish that he would sign his rights over and let us move on with our lives. Like, what makes me the angriest, the absolute angriest about him, if you're not going to love your child like you should, if you're not going to do that much for your child like you should be, at the very least, at the very, very minimum, you should let somebody else do it. If you know in your heart that you're not going to take care of your child, you're not going to love your child like you know that they need, you're not going to do nothing for them. This is for the men out there, if there's any watching this video. If y'all aren't going to take care of your child the way you're supposed to, and you're not going to do nothing for them, at the very least, let somebody else do it that is man enough to do it and wants to take care of that child. Because, you know what? It's not right. It ain't right, and it's not fair to the kids involved. Be a dad or don't be there. You know what I mean? Don't play games. Like, I don't know. I'm done. This video's done.